stick back out on the play. Hall, a shot save. Pasternak scores! David Pasternak!
At home.
Oh, hello, everybody. I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone, and today, along with Kyle Howe, Matt Bringiforti, Sam Smith, we will be giving our NFL free agency predictions for this year. Super Bowl is over. The Chiefs have defeated the Eagles 38-35, and we figured we would do our free agency predictions as quickly as possible. So we're going to waste no time. We're going to go right on into it. Give our predictions for the top free agents of each position. We hope you enjoy the vid. All right. So I have both the free agent tracker list and the salary cap space for all the 32 teams on my screen here. Okay. So we are going to go over some cut casualties as well. And I think looking at these names, when Derek Carr eventually gets either traded or released, he will be the biggest name out of the bunch. So, guys, what do we think is going to happen with Derek Carr?
I think what the rumors were yesterday that he does not want to be traded with the Raiders. He'd rather be cut. And I think that's probably a smart move for him because I don't think he's going to have a lot of value for the Raiders. I think they're not going to get a lot for him. So I think the best way is to cut him.
Let him choose where to sign.
Yeah, because if that doesn't happen, if he gets traded, the top place is the Saints. New Orleans Saints were a top location for him, but might be better off to just cut him and give him a chance to sign wherever he wants.
I'll predict the Saints there. I do agree Raiders should release him. All right, now on to the list. We do have a couple of interesting names here. First one we'll go over is we'll go over Geno Smith first because I know Kyle wants to talk about that. What are we thinking about Geno Smith here? Made his first career Pro Bowl, but he's also going to be, 31 by the time next year starts?
He's 32 right now. He's going to be 33.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we have two options. So right now we can franchise tag him for $32 million for 1 year, which is a really large contract, but also it doesn't guarantee anything in the future, right? Because I think personally a 2-year, $40 million deal, $20 million each year is a fair assessment for him. For how he did. He made the Pro Bowl. He made the playoffs when no one thought he would, right? It was the unbelievable story. But, the $32 million, even though I like the idea of only 1 year, another prove-it year, even though he did prove it this year, just to show that he's not a one-hit wonder. But, yeah, I definitely think a 2-year deal would be better for him. Definitely think 99% sure he re-signs with Seattle. That's pretty much
I would agree with that.
The guy had a lot of success, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He went from undesirable to undeniable, right, in one season.
Exactly.
So I think he re-signed in Seattle for sure.
What I think about Geno, I think they should. I don't know if about tagging him. I think it's going to be too much. Maybe get him on a deal that is not expensive, like a 2-year deal, and maybe draft a guy in this year's draft, and maybe sit him behind Geno and see what happens.
Maybe.
Yeah, in 5th round, I'm looking at no later or no earlier than 4th round pick for a quarterback. Obviously, I think a 5th or 6th round wouldn't be terrible because a lot of people want to re-sign Drew Lock, and I just think it's just a sitting duck there. I mean, the guy didn't do anything this past year.
Drew Lock will be released.
I know. I don't think he should be re-signed.
Breaking news just came out about Derek Carr. Funny enough, the Raiders have officially cut Derek Carr.
Oh, there we go. So there you go.
According to Ian Rappaport.
And I'll be making that Fletcher Sports Zone post after this video. Anyway,
There you go.
So there we go.
Just came out.
Yeah, well, perfect time
Right
when we're
after
doing
you
this
just
video.
talked
Thank
about
you,
it.
Exactly.
Sam.
So
All right, how about another quarterback who I think we all expect to get franchise tagged or to stay around? Daniel Jones. I expect the Giants to get a 4-year deal done with them. The unfortunate truth is the quarterback market is so ridiculously high. He's going to get something north of $80 million, which I think is an absolute joke. But to give credit where credit's due, Daniel Jones, a career low, 5 interceptions this season. He has turned it around.
Well,
I
4
just
year, 80
don't
million wouldn't be bad.
think. But it's
20
Daniel
million?
Jones.
Yeah, but that's only $20 million a year.
That's true, but it's
That's not
Daniel
terrible.
For
Jones.
him?
No, but for him, he just had 700 rushing
Daniel
yards
Jones-
and 5 touchdowns.
All right, what does Matt think
It's
here?
not a
I-
terrible
To
quarterback
be
at
honest,
all.
this is definitely the best year of Daniel Jones.
Well, yeah.
Daboll's done a great job with them. Again, they didn't have many receivers, but like he did okay throwing the ball. I think he threw like 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
maybe
17
15.
touchdowns. Yeah.
Not bad. Turnovers were much better this year.
What is rushing?
They
stats?
definitely utilized his legs more, which was a great thing because he's very good in the run. So I think they definitely bring him back maybe like a 3 or 4 year deal. They could tag him, but I
Still
don't
young.
see them. I don't see them doing it. I think they really want to do long term with Daniel Jones here.
Yep.
Since the quarterback market is weak.
Yeah, got to resign him.
All right. Well, I was going to say Lamar Jackson, but I think we all expect him to get franchise tagged by Baltimore. So we'll move on from that. There's 3 more other quarterbacks I want to take a look at here. Jimmy Garoppolo is the first one.
Vegas.
San Francisco expecting to release him. Sam thinks Vegas. What do you guys think?
I agree, Las Vegas. I
Las
think that's
Vegas?
a
It's
good
the
spot.
perfect fit for him.
With Derek
I
Carr just
agree.
being cut right now, I definitely think
I agree.
Las Vegas is
Garoppolo
fine.
and Josh McDaniels, they have that connection already.
I like that idea, but I honestly like a team
Here we go.
like the Saints if they don't get Derek Carr, who'd be a good fit as well.
That's
Yeah, you know-
good. That's a good
okay.
prediction.
And I can
Wow.
see the Jets look into him, but I don't see them getting him. But I can see them look at him.
Ooh, maybe a potential workout with the Jets to
Yeah,
be
I don't-
determined
I
there.
don't-
All right, we got 2 more quarterbacks before we go up to running backs. Jacoby Brissett. Now, expected to be a backup, but
Could be
he
starting.
looked better than Watson based off of what we've seen this year in Cleveland.
I like
Obviously,
him on Falcons.
you
I
like
think if
Brissett on the Falcons?
Yep, I think he could get a real good shot at being starter over Desmond Ritter. I like
I
Desmond Ritter
think
too.
I think the Falcons quarterback is going to be the guy we're going to finish off with, Matt.
Brissett, the Falcons is an interesting option here, but I like to be honest. I like what I saw out of Desmond Ritter. I think
I
they
know.
could try maybe get him and
But it
see
can't
what's
hurt.
going on because I don't think they're going to keep Mariota because I think
no.
Mariota
he's
did
got
awful
cut.
this year. But I can see a team like Carolina look at him, maybe as a potential backup for a guy they get maybe in the draft. Who knows? Maybe I can see the team like the Saints, maybe the Giants as a backup role.
Mm-hmm.
Something there to watch.
I think Jacoby Brissett is going to sign with the New York Jets, whether he's the starter or the backup.
Terrible.
I think he's going to start with the Jets. And
Who
now,
will be the starter then?
to be determined.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go on to our last guy, Trace McSorley. Okay, I'm kidding. Kyle likes the meme song, so I figured I'd do that for him. But now we're going to talk about my boy Gardner Minshew, who, though,
Grant's gonna kiss his ass again.
Yep.
Here we go.
I know.
he is going to be the Atlanta Falcons Week 1 starter. You heard me. He's
I
beating
think-
out Desmond Ritter for the starting
I
job.
like that.
Let's roll with it,
Not
baby.
bad. I
The
like
mustache magic's back.
At Carolina is also a great spot for him.
Yes.
So I think Carolina is a great fit.
Tampa could
Obviously.
use a guy like him too.
Tampa Bay. I'm liking
New
these
Orleans.
predictions. New Orleans.
Would be very nice.
Well,
The
great
Jets,
predictions,
the
guys.
Jets,
Can I
I can
ask a
see.
question real quick?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Who was
Giants.
Brady's backup last year?
Kyle Trask.
Trask and then
And
Gabbert.
Blaine
Okay, who would you
Gabbert.
rather have, Kyle Trask or Gardner Minshew?
Gardner
Kyle-
Minshew.
All right, so
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew is going to Tampa. Right? I'm calling it.
That's a
right
great
now.
move. I
There's
like
a
that.
lot of teams need quarterbacks, so they could other.
What are we
teams
talking
do.
about Derek Carr? I think we
The
still.
thing is, though, the Bucks, right? Gardner Minshew's getting weapons. No offense to the Panthers, all they got is DJ Moore, a receiver. You go to the Buccaneers, you're getting Evans. You're getting not Julio Jones, but you're going to get Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, you're going to get a pretty nice offense
And
right
the
there.
offensive line's pretty solid.
Offensive line's pretty solid too, so that's put him in to succeed right there.
Mhm.
So
All right.
Probably a mid-tier
Derek
next year.
Carr
That would be
will-
better than like 4-12 or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be much better if they can.
All right, moving on to running backs. I think for all Saquon Barkley, Jamal Williams, Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs, I think they're all staying with their respective
Yes,
teams. Speak
agreed.
now if you dare, but I think that
I
they're
think
all
they're
staying put.
They had
Barkley, Jamal Williams,
Yes.
Miles Sanders, and Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
No way either of those four.
They're all
All
staying.
four of those players are staying exactly where they are.
All right, but we do have two other running backs I'd love to talk about. First one is former Seahawk, Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
Injury-prone player, but I think he's very solid. I think if he does get that, I think he is healthy enough to get a starting role in this league. You could use him as a very reliable backup.
I just don't see it as.
I'm gonna go with a risky pick here. I'm gonna go Rashad Penny signs a 1-year prove-it deal with the Denver Broncos.
Okay, that's fun. As long as he doesn't stay with Seattle, yeah, he's a great running back. But the guy can't get over his injury concerns, right? This year was his prove-it year. He just had his prove-it year this year after he broke off for like over 700 yards over his last 5 games last year. Okay, and then this year he comes in, he plays 5 weeks, boom, what happens again? He gets injured. Okay, also Chris Carson retired, which led to Kenneth Walker, could have been Offensive Rookie of the Year, but it led to him, getting the starting role and breaking out. So there's no reason to re-sign Rashad Penny as a backup. He would not be a backup when he has a chance to be a starter somewhere else, even though he gets that injury concerns.
teams I think will be good. My top team, I think it could be Miami. Why? Mostert's going to be 31. They have a lot of this depth of running back. They want more depth. That's how Miami is with that Mike McDaniel offense. They like their running backs. They like their depth of running backs. I think that's a great fit. Denver, definitely. I could see him go to the Giants as a backup role for Saquon, maybe something like that. I could also see the Niners possibly. Maybe.
Depends on Elijah Mitchell.
Exactly. Maybe Elijah Mitchell pending. We don't know what's going to happen with him. Maybe New Orleans if they can figure out, because they do need another back behind Kamara.
All right. I think this man's also going to take advantage of a starting role somewhere, and that is being Kareem Hunt. He's sick and tired of sitting behind Nick Chubb. This guy blatantly has the talent to be a starting running back in this league. What are you guys thinking, Kareem Hunt? I'm having a little trouble to predict this one, but I do have a prediction in mind.
Cleveland currently, right?
Yes.
Cleveland currently.
Okay, so I was thinking.
I have my top suitor, what the team I just mentioned for Miami, definitely needs a number one back, and I think Penny could be a good fit, but get a guy like Kareem Hunt would be unstoppable for that offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Who needs an up top running back?
I can see them. I could see Buffalo look at a number one back as well.
Panthers could get a running back.
Panthers
They don't have
definitely,
any running
but
back right now.
They need a running back to lose in CMC.
Yeah,
they definitely need a back. But I don't. We'll see what happens here. I see Kareem Hunt go to a team that has a playoff chance. I don't know about Carolina.
Yeah, I know they don't have the biggest.
Maybe a
chance. They didn't do
team.
bad this year.
Those are the teams.
I think Kareem Hunt, though they are not
Baltimore as well.
Though they are not a playoff team, I think Kareem Hunt is going to sign probably a 2 or 3 year extension with the Arizona Cardinals.
I like that.
I mean, clearly
James
he
Conner?
would be the established number one running back there. You can use Hunt as your receiving and elusive back. You can keep James Conner as your end zone running back, your power back to, punch it in from a couple yards out. I think that's a great 1-2 system there. It helps, you don't have to rely on the passing game until Kyler Murray comes back into the lineup sometime next year. I think it's smart that Hunt goes to the Cardinals. And our last running back would be Chicago Bears running back David Montgomery. Where are we thinking Montgomery's going to go?
Definitely Miami could be an option.
Miami could sign anybody.
They could sign any running back. They definitely Chicago can definitely bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, obviously.
Depends how much it costs, but yeah, it'd be nice for
Definitely, I
Bears
can
to
see
get him back.
Baltimore go after another back. Definitely Baltimore.
David Montgomery, I think he's gonna try to sign as a starter, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes like a 1-year backup deal.
Honestly, just saying this, since the absence for the Jaguars of James Robinson, that could be an interesting 1-2 punch with David Montgomery. And
I
Travis
wouldn't disapprove that.
Too high.
ETN, you're
He's too good of a player for running back.
Yeah,
again with the
but-
Jaguars
That's my
cap, but
opinion.
it would
You
be
want
a
it, but
free
I'm looking
agent.
at these other free agents here. If the Jaguars were gonna sign someone, I think they would sign someone like
Rashad Penny.
yeah, like a
would be-
Jerick McKinnon, a Kenyon Drake,
Rashad Penny.
a
Rashad
Devin
Penny.
Singletary.
Montgomery's a
maybe.
higher level player for a running back 2 role. I just don't see it. I see him
True.
as a running back
But
1.
it's an option. But I don't
Option,
see
but
it
it's
happening. I
expensive
can see
option,
more.
too.
I can see Baltimore as
I
well.
do think Khalil Herbert has ultimately won the job in Chicago,
I
which is
agree
why
with
I
that.
brought up
Herbert's better
Montgomery.
now. So I don't think he'll go back
Yeah.
to Chicago, but you never know.
I think Montgomery, yeah, Cardinals could be another option for him.
Cardinals,
but him
yes.
and Connor have very similar aspects. I also see him going to the Rams because Cam Akers is going to need
Yeah.
some help.
Oh,
Why
they
not
need
bring
help.
in David
They need-
Montgomery,
they do.
1-2 punch? Why not? Yeah, we'll see what happens there. All right, now we're going to move on to receivers here. There are so many great receivers on the market, but I'm just going to quickly glaze through some of the names here. I think we can all assume that Sterling Shepard's re-signing with the Giants.
So
We can talk about Sterling Shepard.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he's
got
re-signing
injury
with the
concerns,
Giants.
which-
Injury
hurts him.
concerns. I can see him go back, but if he doesn't, I can see a team like Baltimore or the Raiders maybe grab him.
Mhm.
Possibly the Cardinals if they end up trading DeAndre Hopkins. Possibly, maybe the Rams. I think maybe that could be definitely a possibility.
I think Shepard's re-signing with the Giants. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he's one of the only players
I
that should
think he
resign.
definitely could resign with New York.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then those are my options.
Yeah, they really need to upgrade those receivers in New York right now. I mean, I think he's still a pretty solid receiver when healthy, but they really got to find some other options in free agency to upgrade to help Daniel Jones out more if they resign him. You know what I mean?
All right, what are we thinking about? I think this man's re-signing with the Lions. DJ Chark.
He's going back to Detroit.
Yeah. All right,
Didn't
good.
have as good as the year he
Yeah,
did with the
he's playing in
Jaguars.
Detroit.
If he doesn't watch a team like Baltimore,
Baltimore's
that
a good
needs
fit.
receiver.
And it's
The
quick.
Giants definitely, but I definitely think he's going back.
All right.
I like him in Baltimore, actually. I think that's a good fit.
He is a blast from the past. He's still a big enough name where you got to mention him. Julio Jones, where we think Jones is going. I think he's retiring after this season.
I would like him in Seattle.
I
think
think
it's
he's going to
amazing.
sign one last one-year deal and retire next offseason. That's my prediction for Julio Jones. So where do I see him going? I see him going to, this is a weird one, he's going to be the wide receiver 3 on the Minnesota Vikings. That's a weird one.
I like that.
Wait,
But
who?
On the
Julio
Vikings.
Jones.
Julio Jones.
Okay.
I don't like the Vikings.
I could see him getting a 1-year cheap deal somewhere.
I think
I
that's-
could see him. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs just maybe give a chance on him.
Hey,
In a
try
lot of
to
depth.
win Julio Jones a
Yes.
ring before he retires.
Exactly.
Why not?
The Raiders, I could be interesting. The Chargers, maybe we don't know. Raiders.
Chargers is a good
I
guess.
like the Raiders there. The Ravens.
Raiders.
The Giants could be an option to
No.
watch.
No, they're gonna want to get someone younger.
But I'm saying Seattle. I think Seattle could get him. I think he'd be a great wide receiver 3 to have Julio Jones, Metcalf, and Lockett together. I think that's a pretty dominant 3. Yes, he's declined over the years, but he's still a solid receiver that people don't give enough credit
Seattle
for.
be another good option as
I
well.
know. I hope we get him.
All right, Juju Smith-Schuster.
I think he's staying with the Chiefs.
You see, I think he just won the Super Bowl. I think he's gonna want to get a payday elsewhere. I see him going 3-year deal to the Chicago Bears.
I like that.
Boy.
The Giants, I can see him.
Giants is, I think,
Career
another
is gonna
top
be
suitor.
If that
for
might be
Juju.
him.
Who cares? But he
I know.
already
He
won
wants
his
some money.
ring.
He probably
The
wants
Raiders
some money.
might be too pricey for the Raiders.
Raiders
so
is
no.
probably too
The
pricey.
Ravens, maybe. I don't know if he might be too much of a number 1 for them. Who knows? I think he might be a good option for the Ravens with him and Bateman. And
This is an underrated take for Juju too. I'll go Packers for Juju.
I like that.
All right, or Kyle, did you give your prediction on Juju?
No, Juju, I think could. I think he still resigns just because I know he already won a ring, but
I
still,
think
why
he
not
wants
stay
to-
in
he-
success?
His
Yeah.
quarterback's Patrick Mahomes. I think he
That's
wants
the
to
thing.
stay.
You want to stay with success.
All right,
No, it's not.
Marvin Jones. Jaguars are not resigning him. Thank you for your service in Duval. We ain't resigning you. I think he's going to the Ravens, 1-year deal.
I can
Good.
see him go to Seattle. You don't know what time Marquise going. I know Marvin Jones 33. He's still
but
a
he's-
very solid receiver.
Three.
Seattle will be option. Vegas. I like this. He's another guy I can see go to Vegas. Rams could be an ideal.
Honestly,
him
the
and
Bills.
Stafford.
Bills are replace Cole Beasley. Honestly, I think because Cole Beasley's probably going to retire.
Yeah, I mean,
think
I
he'd
can
be
see him
a
go
solid
LA
receiver.
just because of Matthew Stafford, possibly.
Potentially. He could be a wide receiver 3 there. All right, and our last receiver, also on the Chiefs, Mecole Hardman. Keep in mind, you're going to say, why would this mean he's succeeded so well on the Chiefs? Kadarius Toney could be their potential punt and kick returner moving forward. We saw that punt return in the Super Bowl last night. Hardman has already won 2 rings. Does he want to follow the money and get more of a wide receiver 2 or a more established wide receiver 3 opportunity elsewhere?
I think he's going to a team. I can see him go to a team that has a lot of money, and that's Houston. They need receiver help. I mean, they're not very good, but it's a very good fit in my opinion with them.
I'm going to go for another AFC South team, that being the Indianapolis Colts.
Another great fit.
Ooh,
They need
Colts.
another
Colts.
2 receivers
You think
behind
Colts?
Michael Pittman. They don't have anything behind them. I mean, Alec Pierce could be a good 2 or 3. I think it'll be very good options there.
All right, I'm looking at the tight ends here. There ain't a lot of good ones. We're just going to go over the top 3 here because these are pretty much the only names we want to probably touch on, that being Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, and Evan Ingram. We all have our own separate opinions on Evan Ingram. So
Hayden Hurst a free agent as well?
Hayden Hurst, too. We could briefly talk about Hurst. Go speed around on Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst.
I think he resigns with the Bengals.
I do agree he resigns with the Bengals.
Yep,
he had a very good year with the
resign.
Bengals.
Why not?
Why not let him go? I think it'd be a great option for them.
All right. Evan Ingram. You know what? There's rumors on Twitter. He wants to go back to the Giants, but he also really wants to resign with Jacksonville after having the best stretch of his career from week 14 to the divisional round this season. Sam thinks he's resigning. I'm over panicking as a fan.
I think Jacksonville's
Jacksonville.
Fit for him. I think it's perfect.
I think Jacksonville is, but the problem is that the Giants are really in a tight end need right now, and they're going to try everything they can to probably bring him in now. And that's the thing.
I think he was re-signing with Jacksonville, but I do have that slight fear that he does go elsewhere.
He could go back to the Giants, but the Jaguars is such a good fit.
The Giants and Jags are equal teams.
I think he's end up long run. They're both playoff teams.
Yeah, both divisionals.
I honestly think if it's up, it might be up to the money, and that might be New York.
All right. Next up, we'll move up the list. Dalton Schultz. I think if he doesn't resign with Dallas, this is funny. I think he's going to division rival Washington.
Very good option.
I see him re-signing with Dallas. But if he wasn't, I'd go Washington.
I think Washington's a very good fit. Again, if the Bengals don't bring back Hayden Hurst, that's another good option as well. The Giants
need a tight end.
Giants need a tight end. So
Dalton Schultz to the Giants. The thing is,
and the Dolphins need a tight end as well.
It's not a trade happening. So as a free agent,
we're going to talk about that in a minute, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Schultz to the
Dolphins
Giants
definitely could be an option as well.
Ooh,
all right, and now we're going to wrap up the tight ends with Mike Gesicki. I do not think he's re-signing with Miami. I think he is going to sign a massive extension, whether that's 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that year range with the Carolina Panthers.
I think Mike Gesicki actually could go to the Lions. They'd actually.
I think that's a very good prediction too. On the cheap 1 or 2 year deal
at the deadline, right?
So that's my prediction is him going to the Lions. But if I had to bring up another team, I could see a division rival like the Packers. They need a tight end. They could lose Tunyon. Actually, they probably will let him go. That's a great option. But I think Detroit's the perfect fit.
I think Detroit, Carolina, and I think another underrated place for him, Tampa Bay.
Yes.
But we shall see about that. All right, we're not going to spend too much time on offensive linemen, but Mike McGlinchey, probably the biggest offensive lineman name out there, of course, on the 49ers and Orlando Brown. So we'll quickly touch on both Brown and McGlinchey real quick. As a Jaguar fan, I'd love to talk about Juwan Taylor, but maybe in a separate video because I have my reasons to re-sign and to let him walk. But, we'll focus on Orlando Brown first. I think he's going to stay in KC for another couple of seasons.
So I think he's going to make a big extension with KC.
I think he's going to extend him long term. I think they're going to franchise tag him at first, and then they're going to extend him to that big deal after.
I think Orlando Brown stays with the Chiefs, actually. Because he's still young. Why not just keep him around?
And Mike McGlinchey. I think he could leave San Francisco, but I have him re-signing, at least on a franchise tag. I can see him.
So a team that I definitely see him go back to San Fran, but if if he walks, I can see a team that is offensive line needy is the Patriots. They're gonna let Isaiah the Patriots. They're gonna let Isaiah Wynn walk. They could cut Trent Brown. So maybe get a guy Mike McGlinchey and then maybe draft a guy in the first round or something.
And I think Mike McGlinchey could actually go to the Texans. Yes, it's a team that's rebuilding, but I think just that's a start right there, getting a really powerful offensive lineman.
All right, now switching things over to the defense, Robert Quinn. Do the Eagles re-sign him?
Is he 34 or 30?
He is 33, I believe.
I could definitely see him coming back to Philly. Another team, I see the Raiders, another option.
Yeah.
Definitely Raiders. That's pretty, yeah. I mean, I definitely see him going back to Philly, though, if not Raiders.
Robert Quinn going back to the Eagles.
I see him re-signing on a cheap deal with the Eagles as well.
Yeah,
and then the other Eagles defensive end, Brandon Graham. You're going to be surprised. I'm going to say he retires.
I think Brandon Graham will retire.
I think he
35 years
will.
old about, he's got to retire.
Yeah, he's going to turn 35 during the offseason. Yeah. I would be shocked if he – I know he wanted to retire with another ring, but remember, he was on the Eagles Super Bowl 52 team, so it's not the be-all or end-all for him. I do think Brandon Graham will retire, and we're going to stick with the Eagles here. Fletcher Cox.
I think he's definitely not retiring.
But he's not coming back.
I can see him stay with Philly or another team. I think because they need defensive tackle help bad. The Chargers.
Yep.
Well, they have Sebastian Joseph Day.
But they do need help in that D-line as well because they need a lot of help there.
Still, good amount of help. They still have Khalil Mack and all that.
Yeah, but they just need more. They need a guy that like a run stuffer. They need something up the bolster that knows the guard. I think definitely a guy like Fletcher Cox would be perfect.
Fletcher Cox definitely leaves and provides Jordan Davis with the starting role at defensive tackle. I think that's huge for his development.
The guy's really enormous. 6'6", almost 300 pounds.
Yeah, he's over 315, I think.
315, wow. He is huge. Now on to the best linebacker on the market, that being Levante David. This is going to be an interesting one, but I think if the Denver Broncos have enough salary cap, they're going to go after him.
Yeah, I was going to say Denver. Denver's, I think, is the best. If not, I can definitely
see another fit New York Jets on a cheap 1 or 2 year deal.
I could see him go to, I think, definitely Denver.
Denver, because they traded Bradley Chubb away to the Dolphins, so that's a linebacker need right there.
And I think this is a very interesting one to point out, but Azeez Al-Shire, you're thinking, he's going to re-sign with San Francisco, but he's also such a young player. If he were to walk, I think he's a great pickup for anybody.
I think
he's re-signing with San Francisco.
I think San Francisco, but I think Houston could be a team.
Definitely
a team to get a pass rusher.
I actually see him going to the Bears.
The Bears?
Bears
need some pass rush.
They need some defensive help badly.
Yeah. That could make sense.
They have $90 million in cap space, so.
All right, into secondaries, and then we'll breeze by a couple of special teams players before we wrap it up here. We actually have quite a few good safeties on the market, one being Jesse Bates.
Bates.
I like him re-signing. Honestly, he's a huge part of the Bengals.
I think he's gonna resign.
So
I think Jesse Bates will resign with the Bengals.
Yep.
If not, I can see a team like Atlanta get him.
All right.
But I think Bengals are definitely the team.
Moving down the line with safeties, Jordan Poyer. I think he's definitely staying in Buffalo.
I think he's leaving.
Really?
I really think he's done with Buffalo.
Where do you think he's going?
I can see a team like the Giants get him. Personally, I think the Giants would be an interesting fit with Dable. I think that could be.
I have Xavier McKinney, though.
McKinney, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if they can bring back Julian Love because he's a free agent as well, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe bring a guy like Poyer.
Potentially. The Giants would have the cap to get that going. Jimmy Ward. Does San Francisco re-sign
I think
him?
he stays with San Francisco.
I think so,
That's
too.
a re-sign. A lot of these guys are just such high-level caliber players that they're probably going to re-sign.
Here's an interesting one. Devin McCourty. I think he's retiring.
Devin McCourty
will retire.
I think, honestly, he might come back as a coach. Wouldn't surprise me as a coach.
You know what would be awesome? If
Safety.
NFL Network hires Devin McCourty and we have our own McCourty podcast on NFL Network.
That'd be interesting. But I
Get
can see him come
Jason
back as a
off
coach.
Sunday. Get Jason off of Good Morning Football and have the Twins have their own little segment on the NFL Network. I think that would be sick.
It'd be entertaining.
And last safety here, Adrian Amos.
I think he's staying with Green Bay.
Yep, I agree. Packers should have enough room to get him. All right. Now we'll have a couple of corners we'll go over here. Marcus Peters is an interesting one. He's going to be almost 31 years old by the time next season starts. But I think when he's been healthy, he has been a huge part of that Ravens defense, though. I see him re-signing on a 2 or 3 year deal, but I think he's going to re-sign with Baltimore.
I could see him resign with Baltimore.
Yeah. What about James Bradbury?
James Bradbury. I see him going to New York.
I think he's going to
I see him
rejoin
going
the
back to the-
Giants.
the
Yep.
I think the Giants reunion.
Another
comes back.
team I would look out for, the Patriots.
Potentially.
Would be
I
interesting.
see it. I
I
see
could
it.
see him
but-
go to the Patriots. It'd be interesting to do with that.
Who would be on the Patriots? I'm kinda
James
checking it out.
Bradbury would be an interesting.
James
He
Bradbury.
is old, but he's one of the top corners
He's
on the
going
market.
to be 30. That's not that bad.
All right. What about Patrick Peterson? Does he return to Arizona? Do the Vikings re-sign him?
I can see him go to the Vikings.
I
Back to
can
the
see
Vikings.
him.
Or the
One
Raiders.
year
I
deal,
see him
Raiders.
going to. Actually, this is interesting. I have Patrick Peterson signing a 1 year deal with the Lions. This is a team
like
that needs
that.
secondary help
Yeah.
pretty significantly, and it's great that Jeff
Temporary
Okuda
fix.
finally blossomed. And I definitely suggest that they target the secondary in the draft. But I think if you get a quick fix in Patrick Peterson for a team that's ready to make a playoff push, you get that veteran leader who's still pretty solid at
Still very
33
good
years
point.
old
Yeah.
by the time next
He
season
resurrected
starts.
his career this year, I
Yep,
think.
yep,
And
absolutely.
Also, yeah, he could go to the Buccaneers because if they don't get Sean Murphy Bunting back,
Ooh, that's another
right?
good
Buccaneers
point.
have a lot of free agent defensive players in the secondary. So
The
if they don't
Raiders
get him
need some
back,
help in secondary as well. Maybe fill a gap there, maybe. The Raiders.
Potentially. Oh, and then
Anymore?
one of your favorite names, Rashad Wild Goose. That's one of
Oh,
your
from
favorite
Washington,
names,
yep.
Kyle. I think he'll resign with Washington.
He'll resign.
We're not going into
But,
much
kickers
detail
and
there.
punters and-
All right, on to special teams, and then we'll wrap this baby up. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to see our mock draft, which will be happening in late March, go subscribe.
free
We'll be
agency,
doing that
it's
right
gonna be.
after free agency, just so we know the team's proper needs. Mason Crosby of the Green Bay Packers, kicker. I think he signs a 1 year deal with Green Bay, and if they miss the playoffs again, he retires.
Yeah, he's not going to leave. He's been there forever, right?
I think he's calling it quits because I think if Rodgers leaves, he's calling it quits.
Ooh, that's an
I just
interesting
don't see
take.
Rodgers leaving right now.
I don't either.
No, but if it's intriguing. If he leaves, he's retiring. If he's not, he's gonna stay maybe for 1
Yeah.
year. Probably for 1 year.
All right, Robbie Gold.
Robbie
I
Gould,
think he's staying in
automatically
San
He's staying in San
Francisco.
Francisco.
I don't even
Staying in
care
San
if he's
Francisco.
going to be 41 by the time next season starts. He's
Who gives a shit?
staying.
He's still he's one of the best kickers in the NFL. right
Matt
now.
Prater, is he staying on the Cardinals? Probably.
Yeah.
1 year deal with the Cardinals?
Cardinals. I liked him on the Lions. So.
Yeah.
But
And Greg Zuerlein, the first kicker that I think will not re-sign with their respective teams. He's gonna be 30. He's gonna be almost 36 by the time next season
He's
starts.
not the same as since he
He's not
was.
the same
as the
like he
Rams
was
and
a
then
few
the
years ago.
Cowboys.
Yeah, he's not the same player, but he's still a starting caliber kicker in this league. Who's the team that really needs a kicker? Honestly, I think Cleveland Browns. If Cam York continues
York.
to struggle, if Cade York continues to struggle, I know he was
And the
only a
Bears.
rookie last year, but I think if Cade York continues to struggle, he signs with the Browns. Bears is another really good option.
Nick Folk
Although I
free
think Kari Santos is re-signed
Is
long
Nick
term.
Folk a
So
free agent?
Oh.
Nick Folk, maybe the Patriots if Nick Folk retires. I don't
Yeah.
see him on the
No,
list
I don't see
here.
that. Not-
But I don't see
Yeah,
Nick
yeah,
Folk
no, so,
retiring
yeah.
just yet.
All right.
All right, we'll go into. There's really no punters. Actually, other than Tommy Morstead. What about
Hey,
Thomas
Bradley
Morstead?
Pinion too.
Bradley
How old's Morse?
Pinion.
Is he 38, 39? Is he in his 40s or is he late?
Morstead's 37.
I can see him go back to Miami.
I think he'll resign with Miami in 1 year
Miami,
deal
yeah.
too.
Maybe a reunion in New Orleans. Who knows?
Tommy Townstead,
Oh,
Chiefs. Chiefs gonna
I
resign
think
him.
he's going back to the Chiefs.
I think he will
He
too.
missed out on Brett Maher. That's the name of the
Brett Maher released after
release.
the playoff
Not going
run. I
back to
think
the
Brett Maher's
Cowboys
getting
after
released.
that form.
I don't know where he's
Field
gonna
game.
sign. He could definitely sign on a team like maybe Detroit. They don't really have that great of a kicker, Michael Badgley, but I don't really see Brett Maher doing much next year. Unlike this man, Cameron Dicker.
very intriguing.
Chargers are going to cut Dustin Hopkins and they're going to roll with Dicker.
I agree with that.
Hopkins was in the IR most of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's going back to the Chargers.
And Riley Patterson. Listen,
Jacksonville.
I like the guy. He ain't Josh Lambo yet. He's not as good as Josh Lambo, but I do like Riley Patterson a lot. He earned at least another year with us.
Yes.
And then, all right, I got to be my NFL nerd self. We got to talk about one long snapper, and that is to represent the retirement of Morgan Cox. He was a long snapper on the Titans and the Ravens. He was a very good long snapper for years. I want to quickly look this up, but I want to say he made about 6 or 7 Pro Bowls, if not more. I could be completely wrong on that, but let me just quickly look it up here. Yeah, he made 5 Pro Bowls, 199 regular season games. You know what? The guy's going to be 37 by the time next season starts. Retire as one of the greatest long snappers in league history. That's what I say.
I agree with that.
It's a long snapper. We must not have much input.
Hey, but those actually have a big effect on the game over time.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. For myself, Kyle, Matt, and Sam, this was our 2023 free agency predictions. We hope you enjoyed it. We kept it at 35 minutes. This was kind of what we were aiming for, anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes. I had a lot of players to go through, a lot more players I would love to talk about. But obviously, for the viewers' experience, we want to, we don't want to make this 2 hours long. So, we figured, hey, we pump out a quick video now that the NFL offseason is officially here. And should be interesting as we lead up to Derek Carr getting released, and the draft's going to be in a month. Should be a very exciting offseason. Again, once free agency concludes, we will do our mock draft for the first round. Matt knows the most about draft picks, but me and Kyle kind of getting into college football this year.
Yeah,
so
I like the draft
we'll give our input, but I think that's going to be Matt's time to shine mostly. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, and now we will see you guys in the next video.